Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari. So good morning everyone, thank you for being here. So today we are going a very interesting verse on the Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th Canto, Chapter 5, Text 13. And we're going to be speaking a little bit about the documentary Christspiracy, because it is very much connected to this verse. If you haven't heard of the documentary, it's by Kam Waters and Kip Anderson. They're the ones who made Cowspiracy, Seaspiracy, and What the Health. But this is one that came out recently. Probably, I think, is one of the most powerful documentaries that they've created, called Christspiracy. And it's about how the underlying principle of ahimsa is, if you look at all the religious traditions, it is there, but there is a little bit of a spiracy. It's somehow not being highlighted. So we'll begin with the reading of the verse. Yad grahana bhaksho vihitasuras tatapashor alambanam nahimsa evam vyayavya prajaya nairatya evam vishudham navidum naswadharma. Translation. According to Vedic injunctions, when wine is offered in sacrificial ceremonies, it is to be later consumed by smelling, not by drinking. Similarly, the sacrificial offering of animals is permitted, but there's no provision for wide-scale animal slaughter. Religious sex life is also permitted, but only in marriage for begetting children, and not for sensuous exploitation of the body. Unfortunately, less intelligent materialists cannot understand that their duties in life should be performed purely on the spiritual platform. So here's the purport by disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Madhvacharya has given the following statement in regards to animal sacrifice. Yagesh alambanam proktam devo deshata pashoho himsanama tad anyatra tasmatam nachared buddha yagyo yato yagye mrita urdvam yanti devi cha paitrike ato labhad alambhanam swargasya tu maranam. According to this statement, the Vedas sometimes prescribed animal sacrifice in ritual performance of the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord or a particular demigod. However, if one whimsically slaughters an animal without rigidly following the Vedic prescription, such killing is actual violence and should not be accepted by any intelligent person. If the animal sacrifice is performed perfectly, the sacrificed animal immediately goes to the heavenly planets of the demigods and the forefathers. Therefore, such sacrifice for killing animals is for demonstration of the potency of the Vedic mantras and the power of which the sacrificed creature is immediately promoted to a higher situation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, however, has forbidden such animal sacrifice in this age, so at least past 5,000 years, because there are no qualified brahmanas to chant the mantras. The so-called sacrificial arena becomes an ordinary butcher shop. In an earlier era, when unscrupulous persons try to establish that animal killing and meat eating are acceptable by misinterpreting the Vedic scriptures, Lord Buddha personally appeared and rejected their heinous position. This is described by Jayadev Goswami. Nindasi yagya vider aha shuta jatam sadaya hridaya darshita pashugata keshavadrita buddha sharira jaya jagadisha hare jaya jagadisha hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Unfortunately, conditioned souls are afflicted by the four imperfections. So just a translation, that's from the Das Avatar Stotram by Jayadev Goswami, describing the 10 avatars and how Buddha is would be the ninth avatar of the Lord, who appears to reject all of the Vedic literature, to simply propose the underlying current of ahimsa that needs to be there. Unfortunately, conditioned souls are afflicted by four imperfections, one of which is cheating propensity, and thus they tend to exploit concessions that the Lord mercifully gives them in religious scriptures for their gradual purification. Rather than follow the Vedic injunctions for simultaneously satisfying their senses and elevating themselves, the conditioned souls reject the actual purpose of such apparently materialistic ceremonies and simply become more and more degraded in ignorance of the bodily conception of life. Thus they fall down altogether from the varnashram system, and taking birth in violent non-Vedic societies, foolishly presume the small fragments of universal religious principles prevalent there to be the exclusive religion of the soul. As a result, they fall into fanaticism, embracing merely sectarian dogmatic reviews of religion. Such unfortunate persons are completely out of touch with their own eternal function in life and consider things vastly different than they are in reality. Om Jnanatimurandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Katanchana Smite Asmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhavet Vismite Viparitam Shat Shri Chaitanya Namamitam. Okay, so first let's start with our own culture. You have the Hindu or Vedic culture. You have Manu Samhita, famous verse. Everyone's heard the translation of this verse. Anumanta Visha Sita Nihanta Kaya Vikri Samskarta Chopaharta Cha Kadash Cheti Ghatika. So this is describing that there are 7 people that take the sin of being a killer. You know, if somebody hires the death of somebody, then they're definitely a killer, even though they didn't pull the trigger. So similarly in the Manu Samhita 551, it says Anumanta. You might know this word from Bhagavad Gita when it describes a super soul. Anumanta, Upadrashta Anumanta Cha. That the Lord's in the heart, and He is the witness, and He is the sanctioner. So one who sanctions the killing, he is also a killer. Vishata, Vishasita, one who cuts, the butcher, he is a killer. You know, so someone who is, didn't kill the cow, but works in the butcher shop and is cutting, that is the killer. Then there's Nihanta, one who actually kills the animal, he is a killer. And then there's Kaya Vikrari, one who sells, who buys and sells. These are all different personalities who take the weight of killing. Then you have the Samskarta, Sakarta, do, one who cooks, one who prepares, who makes it. They're taking the weight of killer. Uparita, one who serves. One who serves it is the killer. And Kadaka, Kadami, one who eats, is a killer. So this is, you also find this in the Mahabharata, the same verse. Not the same Sanskrit, but same verse describing the 7 people who take the weight. And then you have another one we might have heard before. Gavam Ramashu Yavanti Tavad Varsha Sahaskratam Pachyate Narake Gore Gorhatyam Yakaroti Vai. So as many hairs are in the body of a cow for that many thousands of years, a person who kills a cow is also cooked. They also suffer. They also become in a terrible hellish condition. And so Prabhupada describes this purpose of animal sacrifice. It's kind of described a little bit in the purport that we read, but here it describes it in more detail. And so this is in 575 of the Bhagavatam. He says, animals like horses and cows were offered in sacrifice to test the proper execution of the sacrifice. Otherwise, there is no purpose of killing the animal. But then here's something that is very interesting. The animal that was offered in the sacrificial fire, it's described that they would walk out of the fire in a youthful body. So unless a person could perform and the real basic quality of a priest prior to the age of Kali. So you have in the Vedic literature these 4 ages, and you have the same kind of description in other traditions. Like if you look at the biblical tradition, there is a 10-time increase in lifespan during the time of Noah. Everyone's living 900 years, 1,000 years. This is 10 times increase. And so this is described that it's a previous age, and the capabilities, the activities were quite different. So the priest in the previous yuga, the smallest thing they could do, the easiest thing they could do is light the fire of the sacrifice just with mantra. And to prove the mystic efficacy of their abilities, an old animal would be sacrificed would be offered into the fire, and a youthful animal would walk out of the fire. And so there would be no killing. So that was to prove, this is the proof, like it's like when you have a pH test, like to see, is this a real, does the priest actually have a capability? Let's see if they can do this mystical thing right in front of our eyes. And therefore, in the Vedas, it's described that in this age, which started 5,000 years ago, sacrifices are not allowed whatsoever. So now there are also lesser forms that are there to regulate, just like the government is not may say, people cannot, in other places you can't buy liquor everywhere. You have to go to a liquor store, that's meant as a regulation, a limitation, not an endorsement. It's not saying this is what's good. It's actually a type of limitation. So Bhagavatam 4:26-6. There's a verse where it says that if a king is too attached to eating flesh, he may do so. He may go to the forest and himself kill animals. And it says this is meant to regulate. Now, when they would do this, the person would go to perform a ceremony. This would be done in the moonless night, so it's not, that's only once a month. And there is a mantra that would be chanted. They would chant into the goat's ear and say, in this life, I'm killing you. In your next life, you will kill me. It's not a very encouraging process. It's not like, it's meant to create some regulation, not to endorse it. And it's also meant to highly discourage the person, that there is, first of all, the introduction of the knowledge of the next life, that the soul is eternal, and that you suffer for your actions. So that, this switch is given. Bhagavatam 7:15-7 also says that even for the Shraddha Puja, the ceremonies for the ancestors, you shouldn't offer animals. And then in verse 8, it says, persons who would want to advance in superior religion are advised to give up all hostility, envy of other living entities, whether in relation to the body, words, and mind. There is no religion superior to this. So the beautiful thing about Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is that it helps understand the different motivations that are behind religious pursuits. Oftentimes that is not clear. You have on the very bottom, karma means that you're trying to get something something materialistic out of the religion. Maybe it's some kind of prosperity gospel, whether it is in this life or next life, you want something for yourself. Then the next section is jnana. You're done trying to play nice in the material world and get stuff. The blab it and grab it oh God, you are my ATM, you are my Amazon Prime, give me this, give me that. But you're rather seeking salvation, nirvana, moksha. You're trying to get free from the entanglement of desire. Now, these two groups, the two divisions of religion, are both self-centered. So the highest is considered bhakti, where you're not trying to get something, you're trying to give. You're trying to offer yourself to the Lord with love and devotion. And on the lower levels of religious pursuits, you'll find a lot of this, not only materialistic, but you'll find these regulations that help people, better than just doing anything. There's some kind of damper on it. But here the verse is saying, but if someone wants to be advanced in superior religion, one is advised to give up all hostility. So in the path of bhakti, this is the bhakti center. We're only concerned with loving God, connecting to God through loving devotion. Our means are to love God, and our goal is not salvation. It's not to get something. Our only goal is to actually develop deeper and deeper love for God. And therefore, it's, for anyone who is practicing bhakti, it's quite clear that there is no opportunity to eat animals in pursuit of that. So that's the easy one. That's the easy one. But one may ask, okay, we are living in the planet Earth, and most people on this planet are from the Abrahamic traditions. In fact, most people in this world are Christian, and so therefore they're the ethical thought leaders of the world. This is the prominent ethical outlook is going to be a Christian outlook, and so Krishna describes in Bhagavad Gita, Evam parampara praptam mam rajeshu viduhu sakalina mahata yoganashta parantapa, that nashta, everything becomes destroyed through the course of time. That spiritual knowledge becomes degraded, it becomes destroyed unless it is revived by God himself or divine personalities. The quality of time as it has this destructive element. So this is understood in our own tradition. Our Acharya, we're coming from the line of Madhvacharya, and he has written a book called Mahabharata Tatparya Nirna. And the whole point of the book is to reestablish the pure understanding of Mahabharata, because he said, now remember, Madhvacharya is from, what is it? I think he's before Ramanuja. I can't remember if it's before or after, but at least around 1,000 years ago, Madhvacharya was saying that the Mahabharata by then has already been interpolated, meaning there is a lot of things that are mixed in that is not coming from the pure divine source. And so he wrote that to revive the pure teachings of the Mahabharata. If you look at Mahabharata, unlike Bhagavad Gita, where you'll find in Bhagavad Gita, the Sanskrit that is there in any part of India, South India, North India, it is the same exact verses. In fact, Bhagavad Gita is such a small book that people had it completely memorized and just passed out. And there's not one syllable off throughout all of India. Even Bhagavatam, such a massive book, but because of its importance, you'll find that you go to South India, you go to North India, you go to see all different manuscripts, you'll have to go pages and pages and pages till you'll find one syllable that's different in the different, you have scribes that write things down. If you find the different manuscripts, you'll go pages and pages and pages, and you might find one syllable that is different. And oftentimes, if there's a syllable or word that's different, it's a word that means the exact same thing. So there's the textual continuity is there. But Mahabharata, you actually have 80 different versions of the Mahabharata in many different languages. And so the South Indian Mahabharata doesn't have the Vyasadev's father marrying, She's not. There's a marriage ceremony. Where in the story in North India, they're like, oh, we don't need this. If this story was told in South India, which is a little bit more traditional, it doesn't fly without the marriage story, how they got together. So you find that there's a lot of differences in the manuscript. Therefore, it's not considered. It's a text that you take with a grain of salt. The Bhagavatam. This is it. This is as it is. Mahabharata, no use going over extreme debates over little tiny things, because it's, even according to our own acharya, it is should be taken with a grain of salt. So I say this because you have the teachings of Jesus Christ, and to be somebody who can impact the world for thousands of years, you must be empowered by God. My wife did the hairpins for Miss America of 2006, but nobody remembers her name. Who remembers that famous person? But this is eternal fame, when someone is, impacting people in such a way that they become lovers of God. So here we go. Abrahamic tradition. So we start with the biblical description is what is for those many of us maybe grew up in Christian culture. Some of us might have not. But if you look at it, all starts with completely everyone is vegetarian. Both humans in Genesis 1:29 and 30 is both humans and both animals. The whole land of God. The Garden of Eden, not the slaughterhouse of Eden. It's like it's a garden. It's the perfect kingdom of God. Everyone's vegetarian, even the animals. And so this is like how we described in the Bhagavatam. It's described that there's no himsa, there's no anger or hostility, there's no hanger, there's no desire to kill. There's a beautiful story in the Gita Mahatmya where this goat is being chased by a tiger, and they're running and running and running, and then all of a sudden he stops running, and the tiger says, "Hey, why you stop running?" He said, "Well, I don't know. I don't feel scared anymore. I just feel peaceful." And then the goat says, "Why aren't you eating me?" And he said, "I don't feel hangry." It's like, I just feel peaceful. And so they're kind of going together, and then they saw this big monkey sitting on a rock. They said, "What is this place?" And the monkey said, "This is a very special place. There was a devotee, a yogi, who would recite the Bhagavad Gita daily, and it was a particular chapter. And it says, because of that, this place has become pure and sanctified." And therefore, it becomes like the Garden of Eden. This is the description of what the spiritual world is like. And so, just the recitation of the Bhagavad Gita there, done purely, even the animals became completely peaceful. So that's the Gita Mahatmya. There's beautiful stories for each chapter. So thy kingdom come. You heard this, thy kingdom come. We want the kingdom of God to be here. So that means we have to kind of follow the principles of the kingdom of God. So then when did the whole meat thing come? So even Noah and his family, they're all vegetarian. But then Noah, as you know, there was a great devastation. Everything is destroyed. There's the Samvartak clouds come and destroy everything. According to the Bhavishya Purana, who also has an account of Noah as Nuha, the servant of God, and Vishnu came to him in a dream and told him to build a boat. And so in the Bible, it says after the devastation, when there was nothing, then there was an allowance that was given at that time. But if you look further, he said you have the book of Isaiah that predicts that there will be a future world, a harmonious world like the Garden of Eden. So just like it's described in the descriptions of Vrindavan, the descriptions of the spiritual world, you have Isaiah, where it says the wolf will lie with the lamb. The lion will eat straw like the ox. They will not hurt or destroy anywhere. And then Isaiah, that's 11 and through verse 6 and 9. Then Isaiah 65, the wolf and lamb will feed together, and the lion will eat straw like an ox. So it's again, so this is the principle that Prabhupada, when he was speaking with his Christian priest and stuff, he'd always talk about this principle of thou shalt not kill. Another example in Christianity is the Daniel fast. So there was some kind of challenge. And so Daniel says, give us vegetables, only vegetables to eat and water to drink, and then compare us to those who eat the king's food. And then after that, they said, look, we are healthier and we're stronger. So here is one of the biggest things, though. Here's the biggest thing. What was the event that happened prior to the killing of Jesus Christ? What was the event? Anybody remember?
Last Supper?
Last Supper. But what was kind of the agitation that happened before that?
He was in the temple and he went and called out the money changers who were selling animals for sacrifice.
Yes, the money changers. Um, does anybody know how many animals were sacrificed in that temple? It's insane. There, you can go there and see there are canals that were there for all the blood. So the Talmud describes there were 1.2 million animals sacrificed per day. That's what the scriptures claim. That there were thousands and thousands and thousands of animals killed per minute. That it was a big, because at the time, people understood that you can't just kill an animal. It has to be somehow religiously authorized. You can't just go and kill anything and eat it. It must go through the system of being approved. And so it is a massive industry. Does anybody know how much does it cost to become organic certified? Any guess? So it's $500 to $1,000. How much does it cost to become kosher certified? Up to $40,000. And the kosher industry, what is the numbers? It's a $25 billion industry. And then you have the halal industry. This, past year, $1.1 trillion industry. So it was a big major driver economy in Jerusalem. The animals are sacrificed, they're barbecued on the altar and sold by priests as sanctified. These are food that you can eat. And even the word capital, it means head. Their whole economy was based on, the whole concept of economy was based on animal slaughter. That's why you call it livestock. The stock it's alive. This is your livestock. So yeah, the archaeologists, they found thousands and thousands of bones that came from that next to the temple. And these bones came from hundreds of miles away. So animals were being driven there, been brought there in a constant stream. And so Jesus came there, and what happened when Jesus came to that temple? What was the story?
He turned over their tables.
Turn over the tables. He set all the animals free. And he said, what was the quote?
My father's house is should be a house of worship, and you've turned it into a den of thieves.
Okay, yes. So that's what we've all heard. That's how we all heard. Now Jesus was speaking Aramaic. Bible is written in Hebrew. Now, if you look at the definition, you can find the actual definition of the words that he used. The word parits, we're getting the English translation as thieves. If you look up this word, P-A-R-I-T-S, the translation is violent ones, one who cuts, or murderous ones. You've turned the house of God into a slaughterhouse. You've turned the house of God into a den of murderers. Not thieves, but murderers. This is the actual meaning of that word. Another big thing is you've heard of Jesus of Nazareth. Now, Josephus, it was this, he writes down, he records all 204 villages and cities in Galilee, and there's no Nazareth there. There's no Nazareth at the time of Jesus. And if you look further research, that actually Jesus is not of Nazareth. He's a Nazarene, and a Nazarene was religious practitioners who were all vegetarian. So you have John the Baptist recorded as a vegetarian. Matthew recorded as a vegetarian. There's James, who is Jesus's biological brother. And it says, famously says, James, the brother of the Lord, neither ate flesh nor drank wine, even from his mother's womb. So he's been vegetarian all of his life, and his mother was vegetarian during his birth. So one may wonder about, wait a minute, isn't there the feeding of the 5,000? Now Jesus talks about this feeding of the 5,000, and when he talks about it, he doesn't mention any fish. Actually, he says, remember the loaves, there are many circumstances, some of you might have come across in the book Higher Tastes by Srila Prabhupada, where it talks about how the words, different words that mean food are translated as meat or fish when they're not actually necessarily mean meat or fish. You have the Ebionites. They were early Christians. And they were all vegetarian. You have actually there's a document that describes the Catholic Church has a document about some of these early disciples of Jesus, early church movements, like the original Parampara. And so there's a document that describes why a particular group, they must be heretics. One of them is, they give 4 reasons why they must be heretics. 1, they're vegetarian. 2, they believe in reincarnation. 3, salvation, they believe, comes from following the teachings of Jesus of loving God and giving yourself to that path of loving God. Not necessarily, they didn't accept salvation coming just from a belief of what he did on the cross, but rather what he did before he was on the cross, following those teachings. And they don't believe that he was born of a virgin birth, and which would go into it says the person who was from that particular line would be the Messiah. So we would actually tie him to that prophecy. So a good shepherd, he lays down his life for the sheep. That's in John 10:11. So there's quite a lot. I would definitely recommend everybody here. You can go to www.jdfilm.com. What would Jesus do? www.jdfilm or Christspiracy.com. They cover all the different religious traditions and just show how that ahimsa was of great importance. Paramo dharma, as it says in the Mahabharata, most important. Just like you have the story Prabhupada told of the man who was trying to get away from the mafia, and he went to someone's store. Can you hide me? And he said, yeah, go upstairs. The man who answered the door. Now this man had taken a vow never to lie. And so when the mafia came knocking on the door, they said, "Oh, we're looking for a guy. He's a little. There's a guy who's running, and he seems a little anxious. We have some business with him. Can you tell us? Oh, yeah, he's upstairs." And so Prabhupada describes that person. He went to hell for lying, not lying. So we have to protect. So I'll stop here and open it up if there's comments or questions. And I'm going to get in the car at that time. And Bhakti Center, please, reflections. Not all at once. Come on. I got to hop in the car.
Very quickly, Isaiah 1:11, God himself declares, "More than enough I've had of your burnt offerings, ram meat in the fat of fattened animals," saying that he takes no delight in the blood of bulls, lambs, or goats, because the people's hands are full of sin. So there's another one for you. It goes way back, even before the New Testament. Or did you already say that one and I missed it?
He's getting in the car. So God has had enough of those bloody sacrifices.
Sick of it.
Yeah. Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. So how do you engage your animals in the service of God, Bhima Prabhu? If that's not a sacrifice, then what is it?
I throw bales of money at them, and they chew on the money because it's green, and then it comes out the other end, and then I have to pay somebody money to take what comes out the other end away.
And then you put that on the soil, right?
And then I put it
you
on the
don't want
soil,
the
and it grows vegetables, and then I bring them by the ton every summer, if you add it all together, down to the Bhakti, down to Adi's food program, and a bit at the Brooklyn Temple, and also all the devotees who are ever present when I show up, to which Ananda Bihari is always the first in line. In fact, he cuts in line and searches through the vegetables looking for the best ones.
To offer it to Krishna. Only the best can be offered to Krishna. Okay, thank you, Bhima Prabhu, for illustrating the practical principles of religion these days, of Dharma. We have Narottam Nitai, we have Sadhvi Didi, followed by Narottam Nitai. Ram.
Narottam was first.
I'll just quickly say, Prabhu, that in the Trade Temple, we used to have peacocks in the 80s. They used to eat the burnt cookies, I heard, from the offering. That's all. Done those.
Thank you very much. Sadhvi Didi, followed by Jai Haridas. And Ram's hosting.
Hare Krishna, and thank you very much for today. I remember I also read in the situation with Lord Jesus Christ, that he was also angry when they were selling things in the temple, that they had the table and they sell things like bazaar, you know what I mean? And he was very angry that they did selling things, whatever it was. Have I understood it right? Thank you.
I couldn't hear the question too clearly.
He's asking whether the temple was also not just a slaughterhouse, but a marketplace.
Well, what was the market? The market was animals. That's what was being sold. He overturned the tables. He let all the animals free, and he said that you've turned the house of God into a house of violent ones.
That makes
So
perfect sense, because the justification for the church would be that we have sanctified this food. It's sort of like Catholics used to have a thing called indulgences. So if you committed a sin, if you paid the church, you would be absolved of that sin. So the church here has taken over the business of slaughtering animals by making them kosher, or making them
they
kosher.
didn't like him interfering with that business, and 4 days later he was crucified.
I also remember I also read something about once it was a man, a father, who wants to make a wedding for her daughter, and the wine was not enough, and he was very sad, and Jesus touched the water and make it change it to the wine, so that he could have the wedding for her, for his daughter. So how to understand that then? Thank you.
I believe in the movie they talk about, even though the movie is not about wine, I believe in the movie, if you watch it, they talk about how oftentimes certain words are used, like he turned it into grape juice. They call it wine when it's actually non-alcoholic. Uh, these aren't necessarily Vaishnavas who are making the film, but still, they did mention something like that. And so uh, most of the time people are reading just in English, and the people are deciding how these things are being translated. Just like we see the word that the words that literally mean food are often translated as meat when they don't mean that. And so parampara, when things aren't passed down, just like how do you can you learn karate from a textbook? No, it has to be. It's a living tradition that is passed down. They might have some literature, there might be some information that helps it, but it has to be passed down from student to teacher. Otherwise, the actual message over time gets corrupted. The actual system gets corrupted.
And you only need one word to corrupt a principle that Krishna sets forward. There are a couple English translations of the Bible which have now changed. I don't know what the Hebrew or the Latin is for "thou shalt not kill." The kill has now been replaced with "thou shalt not murder." And as we all know, murder is only thought of by the majority of human beings as killing one of their own, versus killing could be just about anything, taking the life thereof. So, just one word change. That's why Prabhupada did the word for word translation and a transliteration, because it's very important that just with the changing of the meaning of a very important key word in a statement can affect the masses and allow for justification of sinful activity, which by its very nature, whether it's written in the Bible or not, by its very nature leads one down into hellish conditions. Just one word.
Yes, yes. That oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I actually I have not looking at any film or documentary. That why I'm asking. My question is because I have a very old Bible and I have read it, and in that also is mentioned Lord Jesus Christ didn't like when you worship the statue, or you know what I mean. So he has also mentioned that. And when it comes to sacrifice and so on, I remember I read it in the Old Testament where it says God will test Abraham and or to sacrifice his son, and to see if he will do it, and he was going to do it, but then Lord, Supreme Lord sent him the lamb and says, no, 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 don't do that. You take this and sacrifice this for me. So whatever I'm asking question is because I read it, but I don't know if they are right translated or whatever. But this is very, very old Bible. I have read it. So I just wonder how is it true, or is it someone just translated that way? Thank you.
I can answer that.
Go ahead, Dima.
Remember, this is these tribes were nomadic. They were desert tribes. So, as given to them as their sustenance was the domestic animals that they raised. And there was a general understanding, and probably a religious understanding, of the caretaking and good treatment of their animals. And then when it was come time to feed the family, because they live in a desert, they had to depend upon the meat. Even Prabhupada said, we're not vegetarians, we're Krishnatarians. When a disciple complained to Prabhupada, you can't send me to Mongolia because there's no vegetables up there in Mongolia. Prabhupada said, eat meat then. So utility is the principle. If you're going to die and not ever tell anybody about Krishna, better to live and tell somebody about Krishna. Not that you're going to die because, but you know, if you're in Mongolia back in that time, that was a tough. So there are arrangements made for different cultures at different times for humane sacrifice of animals during special times for the sake of survival. And Prabhupada said, but that of course does not justify the wholesale slaughter, which is what's going on now.
There's another story in the Bible where the people were in the desert, and there's a plant called or food made from a plant called manna. I think it's some kind of, I forget, it was like a buckwheat or something like that, and they're making a type of bread, and they're complaining to God, we're tired of this manna. They came. They were Egyptians. They were coming from a meat eating culture, and they're like, we want our meat, and they're pushing and pushing for it, and complaining, and then God responded, okay, if you want your meat, then I'll give it to you, and not for a day, or not for a week, for a month, to the point where you'll be completely disgusted with it. So it described that. Actually, after that introduction, that meat that came, what followed was disease. So it was like definitely not an encouragement. There's a constant tension. There's sometimes even like parts that it appears that there are different parties responding to that tension in literature itself. So you have parts that are forbidding or discouraging, and then you have parts that not only go against forbidding, they endorse. So there's this tension is there. And then there's the historical tension. Like you have the Qatars of Spain. These were 1 million Christians that were vegetarian, and they were killed off because of that difference in doctrine. And so the understanding that there's tension means that there must be something worthy of investigating historically, scripturally. Otherwise, why are the original disciples? You can speak to any well-informed priest, and they can tell you a certain number of the original disciples they know for sure are vegetarian. Not necessarily why or how is that relevant, but they definitely know that they're documented as vegetarian. We have Hari's hand up.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Nityananda, for the wonderful class. I was just thinking about this yesterday when I was at the shopping for the boga for Govinda's restaurant, because there was a guy that he wanted to cut in front of me He said, "Oh, I only have 3 items. Let me go in front of you." And I said, "No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I'm a vegetarian. I can't do that." Because on his cart was 2 big cases of dead chicken, right? And it might have been inside of a box, but I just remember your voice at the kitchen table saying, "One who gives permission." That was like whenever you said that to me, first said it, like what was it, like 4 years ago or something like that. Anyway, and so and he ended up yelling at me. He was like, "You're gonna be sorry," and then I didn't say anything, and I just ended up checking out. And it turns out he actually left the grocery store before me anyway, but I was actually feeling pretty good that I didn't give him permission. And so do you think that was fanatical, or is that the definition of not giving permission?
Everything is it's up to you. I believe that I, you had some inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Better to have been kind
I
and
was
then
wondering
tell him
about
that
that.
you're a vegetarian.
I did say that. Yeah. Yeah, I said, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm a vegetarian." And then that's all I said, and he went away.
and
And
you don't have to mention you're vegetarian. You don't have to mention
No, tell him you're a vegetarian and let him cut in front of you. That way he knows what vegetarians are about, compassion and kindness. If you say the word vegetarian and then do a negative behavior, then that's what you're going to receive back. You're never going to convince him. And every time he hears the word or even considers the idea of becoming a vegetarian, he will remember how rudely he was treated.
No, but what my question is, what about the because the consequence is that the person that gives permission like goes to hell, right? Because they
No,
suffer the
no,
same
you
results.
just say Hare Krishna. I'm a vegetarian. You're welcome to go in front of me. That way he hears the holy name. He hears something favorable about Hare Krishna in the sense that I'm a compassionate soul, even to the sense that I will let you in your sin go before me so that you can get your comeuppance over with. All right?
and it's not necessarily
Never get in the way of a sinner.
you're not. It's not a sense of permission that you aren't. It, it was going to happen no matter what. So it's not happening due to your sanction.
Yeah.
That purchase not happen. You're not sanctioning the purchase. It's happening whether he's in before you or after you.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was wondering about. Because like I mean, I isn't there like the hell where you have to go if
What are
you've
you scared of hell for? Just chant Hare Krishna. What? You have nothing to fear about anything that you do for Krishna. Nothing. You don't
Yeah, it's a
ever
good
have to
point.
think about hell, except for saving him from it by chanting Hare Krishna, because that means he has to take birth again in his next life to hear somebody else say Hare Krishna twice, and that requires a human birth. So you just saying Hare Krishna guarantees that you're helping him at least avoid the depths of hell. He'll probably have to get burned really bad, like all of us who used to eat meat, by the way. We're all guilty. Don't cast the first stone.
I'm not casting it. I was a meat
No, I'm
eater.
not talking about
Yeah.
you. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about the general idea sometimes that we get, all of us get about people who are way off the mark according to us. We have to point to another target so that they can get on mark in the right direction. And sometimes that's just a little nudge, like the holy name or kindness being offered. You're representing, Prabhu, you're representing.
So that brings me to the other question. So because I used to eat meat, are you saying that I'm still going to roast in hell, but if I just remember Krishna, that I'm going to be okay?
No, you'll probably get a couple sunburns in your next life.
Oh. Okay.
No, you don't have
Yeah.
to worry about anything. Remember, this is Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. We're in a dream. Yeah, in a dream, you can feel like you're in hell, man. You can wake up with a heart that's just palpitating from fear, in a nightmare. Remember when you're a kid, right? But it is all just something that passes by. This too shall pass. And yeah, as you sow, shall ye reap. But Krishna and Prabhupada both promise that the karma that's due us is like the turning of the blades of a fan that has been unplugged, because you're no longer adding momentum and energy into the sinful activity that needs must circle around back on you, called karma, because you've taken the energy out of it by following four regulative principles to begin with. When the blade hits you, it will not cut you through and through, but the blade will turn nonetheless, which is why in the Bhagavad Gita, Chandra can give us the verse that one of the most favorite from Prabhupada and a lot of acharyas is Chandra patiently endures his karma while
No,
serving
that's not
Krishna.
Bhagavad Gita. That's
What's
not
that?
taken from Susamik Shimano, that's Srimad Bhagavatam.
What is it? What's the English?
Um, what's
You
the,
whipped off the Sanskrit. You can't give me the English?
I forgot. One who is patiently, all the while, one who is patiently tolerating his karma, understanding that this is the result of their past deeds, all the while glorifying Krishna by words, mouth, and the heart, is eligible for liberation, for it's his rightful claim, something like that.
There, bam.
So
So it's,
Nitai Chand is not the only Shrutidar on this call.
yeah, that's right. Word up, Ananda Bihari.
When I first became vegetarian, and that was before Krishna consciousness, I gave up meat, and then I told my father that he was a swine eater, and he still, to this day, refers to himself as a swine eater. My father.
We have Benu Maduri with her hand up.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Car to car transmission here. I have a question for you. What do you so very interesting about Christ and vegetarianism, and I'll be interested to see the film, and I assume that a lot of it focuses on why the church kind of covered this up, or the meat industry, all that. But from a Krishna conscious perspective, what do you take as the significance of the fact of what you relayed? I mean, I know Prabhupada would always interrogate the every Christian he found. We have so many documented evidence of that. But kind of, what do you take as the sort of, if you will, philosophical or spiritual significance from a Krishna conscious point of view of that, of Christ's vegetarianism? Hare Krishna.
So you have four domains of experience. These are actually in English we have 8 parts of speech. So you got nouns and pronouns. That's where one domain experience is just being. Then you have so the 4 domains of experience are being, doing, differentiating, and what was the last one? Being, doing, differentiating. You can read about this in Simon Haas's book of Dharma. And these actually relate to the 4 legs of Dharma. So being is related to Satyam. Relating, that's related to Ahimsa, how you relate to others. Differentiating is related to purity. And doing, which is like verbs, that's related to discipline. And so these are the things that hold the legs of our spiritual life up. These are like you have 4 legs on a table. As soon as you remove one of those legs, the thing becomes less stable. Just like we're driving on 4 wheels, on 3 wheels less stable, 2 wheels. I've been into 4 motorcycle accidents, and we find that most motorcycle accidents, it's they're not even caused by the driver. There's nothing you can do. Like you hit a patch of water, you hit some wet metal or something like that. You're like a the sewer drain cover, you immediately slip out. So the less legs, the less stability. And so these are the stability of our spiritual life. And so the four legs of Dharma are related to the four regulative principles. You have nonviolence is related to thou shalt not kill, not eat animals. You have purity and socham and discipline is related to no intoxication, no adultery, and then honesty is related to gambling. These things they harm our spiritual stability. Does that answer your question?
In a way, like, I guess what I'm saying simplistically is I understand and appreciate and wholesale endorse why we are vegetarians, but what is the significance? Just, I mean, even just asking you personally as presenting this class, and I thank you for it. But what do you see as the significance that Christians may be wrong, if you will, about the essence of Christ's teaching? What is the significance for that as us as Krishna conscious, you know,
That these principles,
devotees?
these are universal principles
Mhm.
that Jesus taught, Buddha taught. These are universal principles.
Right. So it's not so much about us being right, but more just kind of underscoring the truth of
Yes,
the
and the
principles.
person who
Okay.
made the document. He's a Christian. He's not a Hare Krishna or
Yeah.
a Hindu or anything.
Yeah.
He's a Christian, and he said that
Right.
he was digging into it. He had this question: how would Jesus kill an animal?
Yeah.
What is the spiritual way to kill an animal? And he couldn't find an answer to that question. He wasn't
No.
vegetarian. He grew up fishing and hunting, and that just led to him discovering that there's this whole hidden side to that tradition.
Right. So
And
it's
for
the
most people now,
universality of the truth
yeah,
in spite of the fact that there's, such a majority of Christians in that kind of a
yeah.
thing.
And for most, Christian priests, it's not a conspiracy. They don't even know this stuff. They haven't. It hasn't been even challenged or brought into their thought. It's
And
something
re-
that was challenged thousands of years ago and was kind of uh, overcome and wiped out.
and remember, these priests that were sacrificing in the temple that Christ overturned and was violently disgusted with, they didn't just go away. That wasn't the end of them. They just packed up and went to business somewhere else. And they are also, remember, they're also of a class of people that over thousands, hundreds of years have, and definitely in America, Western cuisine, excuse me, sorry, I just got through running up a hill. We have been convinced, even in our own schools, on the diagram of what we should eat, that we have to have so many portions of meat, that we have to have so much protein. And it's kind of a funny thing. We do need a certain portion of protein, but it's a funny thing working with horses who only chew on grass and hay, maybe a little bit of grain. Look at their muscles. I mean, because that's what everybody fears in the West, that if I don't eat meat, well, how will I get my sustenance? So a lot of this lean in the Western world for hundreds and hundreds of years have been about not just bloodlust, but the fact that the meat industry uses a constant, chronic form of propaganda about how you need to eat the flesh of animals to survive. So we always have to remember that's the information has been tainted over many years.
We got Joshua with a hand up.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. I'll just share one story that kind of put everything in a perspective for me. A little bit of background. I work for the Catholic diocese, so I work closely with priests and deacons, and I have regular conversations about the meat eating topic with priests and deacons in the Catholic Church. And I was speaking with a deacon one day about the meat eating topic, and I brought up the idea of animals having souls, and he said, I agree with you. Animals do have souls, but we kind of believe that it's like a different kind of soul. And Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita about those who see a different type of living entity in different types of bodies or in the mode of passion. So this kind of put things into perspective is like the way they justify it is because most of them are in the mode of passion. That's how they kind of just see everything. So that's all I had to say on it.
Saints like Saint Francis, there's Origin, there's many different Christian saints that are honored as saints by the tradition that became vegetarian because of that. It's
Saint Francis of Assisi.
still.
Yeah, that whole Franciscan order, I think most of them are vegetarians.
I don't know if they're still so much. That's the quality of time.
You know what's wild is that if you bring any child, if a child sees, if it's their first time seeing the slaughter of an animal, the horror and trauma that they go through is will speak volumes as to what the natural constitution of a pure heart, because the closest thing we can come to a pure heart, other than, of course, a pure devotee, is a child, an innocent child. And when they see the actual reality of what it takes to get meat, naturally they are repulsed by the idea and will break down crying. Of course, 99% of them will break down crying if they are witness to such a thing. So we can see how far off we've come, you know, when we grow up as adults, how we're convinced that there's not really an animal attached to this, and there's not really a violence attached to this practice. The best thing I think that we haven't discussed is prasadam, the taking of prasadam. You know, it's like filling up a cup with nectar and letting the black ink of meat eating flow out. When I first started visiting Radhanath Maharaj, you know, the boxing team used to come and to the Wednesday feast and also the Sunday feast. This was in college, so you know, free prasad was gold. Free meals were gold. So we'd all show up, but a lot of us were meat eaters, and because we thought we needed it, we paid very close attention to our protein intake, and the quickest way to get protein is through meat. And we kept coming to these feasts, and we started considering, hey, man, we got to give this meat up. You know, we were never preached to, never talked to, we were just fed prasad. And then we realized that there's an alternative, a very tasty alternative, and a special magic alternative called prasad. You know, because you could feel it when you first take prasad after eating Western fare. At least you can taste the magic. You can taste the love of the cook in the prasad, especially if Radhanath Swami is doing all the cooking. And you just naturally stop eating meat because prasadam has depoisoned you, detoxified you from the love of flesh. So prasad is the operative factor here in regards to convincing somebody that they should be vegetarian, because being vegetarian has a plethora and variety of offerings that will satisfy you just as much as anything, carnivorous.
Srila Prabhupada said that the monkey or the pigeon is a vegetarian, but that doesn't make them, spiritual, that they're a yogi by just being vegetarian. It's when we cook with love and devotion and offer that food to God, then the food becomes spiritualized. It becomes a participation of the Leela of what happens in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, there's food. Nobody needs to eat, but why is there food? Because it is a very convenient and powerful way to express love. And so people cook vegetarian food and offer it to God. we do it here, and that becomes our daily way of connecting with divinity. Also, a question was brought up about dominion. God, Christians say God says, "I give you dominion over the animals," but the word dominion means like you care over your own children. So just because you have children doesn't mean you can, kill them, do whatever you want with them. It means a sense of care and that they're under your stewardship. Anupam Prabhu's got his hands up. Oh, you're on mute.
You're muted.
You're still muted.
Oh, sorry. So I got my hands up. Haribo. Um, I was just reading in the story of Prithu Maharaj, where the earth is refusing to give grains, even though everybody's performing sacrifices properly and whatnot. Purport Prabhupada said that actually things will get worse and worse on earth because of fewer and fewer people actually following Dharma. And as a result, food grains will stop, and then because food grains stop, they won't have anything to feed the animal. So they won't have the cow meat and chicken, whatever, and so then they'll resort to eating each other, and the humans will eat other humans' flesh. And I remember hearing I'd say in a room conversation that actually human flesh is the most delicious, but because they don't know it yet, people don't partake. But maybe some people do. I don't know. But
This is the afterglow. This is what I have the afterglow for.
Um,
Sounds like he's alluding to some files or something.
yeah. So it's interesting because Rakshasa means man eater, right? And Prabhupada also it's described in the 12th canto how in Kali Yuga man eaters will be ruling the world, basically. So I wonder if that's also a literal thing. Like they literally eat people.
Look at the Epstein files. They'll tell you everything you need to know.
Yes, that's what we were alluding to. Bhima Prabhu.
Also, there was the question about alcohol. There's this story in the Puranas about Devyani and Sarmishta. And so you have the sage guru of the demigods and the sage guru of the demons. You have Brihaspati and Shukacharya. And so the devas, the angels, were always in war with the demons, the daityas. But the daityas, they had one special thing, is that their guru, Shukacharya, had Mitra Sanjeevani. He had a particular type of powerful secret mantra and system by which he could bring someone back to life if they were killed. And so it was kind of it's an unfair fight. You're fighting, some army, and they could just bring their powerful soldiers back to life. And so they sent this this Brahmana boy, I think his name is Kacha or Kacha or something like that, to study under Sukacharya. And Sukacharya knew that he was sent by the demigods because of this, because they wanted to steal the mantra. And so he was not willing to teach the boy this particular mantra, but he was very much inclined to teach him. He was such a nice student, had such nice qualities that he naturally wanted to teach him. But also Shukacharya's daughter, she fell in love with this, I think his name's Kacha. She fell in love with him. Now the demons, they understood, oh, this boy is here to steal this mantra to help the demigods. So let's kill him. And so they killed him. And then so Devayani, the Sukacharya's daughter, is crying and saying, this Kacha, he's dead. My father, please bring him back to life. And so they brought him back to life. And so then the demons again killed him and then spread his body parts in all different directions. And then again, she noticed that he was gone. He said, I think the demons have killed him again. Please, my dad, please bring him back to life. And so then they brought him back to life. And then the demons killed him again. But this time they killed him, burnt him to ashes, and then mixed the ashes with some wine. And then offered the wine to the guru of the demons, Shukacharya, saying, this was from some sacrifice. You please drink this. And so he drank it. And then the Devayani was crying again, crying. And he said, please bring my dear Kacha back to life. And then he heard this voice say, don't bring me back to life. I've been digested by you, and the reformation of my body will kill you. So, you can't do this. And he said, well, no, I have to do this. So what I'll do is I'll teach you the mantra, and so you'll come back to life, and then when I die, you bring me back to life. And that's how he got the secret Sanjivani mantra to share with the devas, the angels. So after that, Shukacharya says any priest who touches wine is immediately fallen. If he drinks wine, he becomes fallen.
That's hilarious. Because they all drink wine as like part of the ceremony.
Yeah. So even in the Hindu culture, it's there. It's they become degraded. Right? It's not priestly.
Jai, thank you very much, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, for the wonderful, thought-provoking class. Thank you, dear devotees, for your participation. Do we have Sage, Sky, are you here? Annabelle, Isaiah, please.
It's Sky's birthday today, too. She's 5.
Hi, happy birthday!
Happy birthday, Sky.
Happy birthday, Sky.
That's Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was 5, right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Hare Krishna to you.
Hare Krishna
To you.
Hare Krishna, dear Sky.
Hare Krishna
To
to
you. Thank you.
I'm invisible. Okay, I'm not invisible. I'm invisible.
Sky, we wish you lots of service, lots of love, and association in Prasadam. Thank you for your association, Sky. This is very purifying and uplifting. What's that in your hair, Sky? This is so cool. It's green and red.
Oh, yeah, she.
Very creative.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Take note of that. Okay, Hare Krishna, happy Friday. Dear devotees, we love you and we need you every day. Come again tomorrow. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jesus Christ, our Guru, ki